Hello viewers, welcome to our first lecture. Our first lecture is about Introduction to Economics. In this lecture, we will discuss that what is economics, what is microeconomics, what is the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. Then we will discuss that what is law, what is the difference between economic laws, social laws, and then we will discuss that what is the difference between demand and desire. So let's start our first lecture. Uh, Starting from that, what is economics? Basically, there are different definitions written in different books about economics. But one of the most general definition for the economics is that it is the study of human behavior. That in economics, we study that how a household or individual changes its behavior according to the market scenario. For example, when we are going to the market, first of all, when we want to buy a thing, the first question which arises in our mind that we ask the price of that good which we are willing to buy. After knowing the price, we decide that how much we are going to purchase of that good. If price goes higher, we will demand or we will buy less of that good. So this is our behavior which we changes according to the price. So that is economics. Economics is the study of human behavior. Similarly, there are uh, different definitions about economics. Like Adam Smith said that, who is the father of economics, who said that economics is the study of wealth. In economics, we study that how to produce wealth, how to consume wealth, how to exchange wealth, and how to transfer wealth. Basically, this definition is totally discussed by Adam Smith. And similarly, there are other economists who gave different definitions according to their own view. But the most common definition of economics is that it is the study of human behavior. In this subject of social sciences, economics, we study that what is human behavior according to the market scenarios. Or we can say that how an individual maximizes his utility with limited amount of budget. The next is that what is microeconomics, as our course is based on microeconomics. So there are two major branches of economics. One is called microeconomics and the other one is called macroeconomics. Micro mean when we are studying on small scale level, or when we are discussing about an individual. So that means we are discussing about microeconomics. And what is macroeconomics? Macroeconomics mean when we are studying about on large scale level, like country income. Country income is GDP, it may be GNP, it may be NNP. We will discuss about these GDP, GNP and NNP in our later lectures, but in this class or at this particular time, we are interested to know that what is microeconomics and what is macroeconomics. So microeconomics mean when we are studying on small scale level, or when we are discussing about an individual or one household income, that mean that we are discussing about microeconomics. And macroeconomics mean when we are studying on a large scale level, for example, when we are discussing about the country income, which is GDP. So this is the major difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. Our next topic is that what is law? Basically, when we repeat an experiment number of times and every time we are obtaining the same result, so that experiment become law. There are certain difference between economic laws and other sciences laws. In economics, our laws are conditional, but other sciences laws are not conditional. For example, here I have written other sciences law, physics law, which is gravity law. Gravity law states that when any individual hold a thing in his hand and when he drop that thing, so by force of attraction, by force of gravity, earth attracts everything to itself. So whenever any person drop a good from his hand, so every time we will get the same result, that earth will attract that good to itself. So everything will fall down when we drop it from a particular point. So when we repeat this experiment number of times and when we are getting the same and same result, so that will become law, that is called gravity law. Gravity law said that earth attract everything to itself, so that become gravity law. So there is no condition in that law. Why, whenever every individual perform this experiment, we will getting the same result. There are no conditions in this law. But in economics, before making any law, we have to assume certain kind of conditions. We have to follow certain kind of assumptions. Without giving any assumptions, we cannot predict or we cannot make any theory or law in economics. Because as in the beginning of the lecture, I said that economics is the study of human behavior. That in economics we study that uh, what is the human behavior. So human behavior is vary from person to person. Like here in economic laws, I put the example of law of demand. So what is law of demand? Law of demand states that there is a negative relationship between price and demand. Wherever price goes higher, the demand for that product will be lower, and vice versa. When price goes lower, the demand for that product will goes higher. This is the law of demand, but we have to make certain kind of assumption, and we simply call it as ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus mean that other thing remaining constant, whenever price increases, demand decreases. So what is mean by ceteris paribus and what is mean by other thing remaining constant? It means that there is no change in income, there is no change in fashion, there is no change in weather. So if all other thing remaining constant and when price increases, then there will be a decrease in demand. So this is the difference between economic laws and other sciences laws. Economic laws are conditional, but other sciences laws are not conditional. So in economics, whenever we want to present any law or any theory, we have to make a certain kind of assumptions. Without making any assumption, we cannot predict any theory in economics. So I hope that now you are clear about what are the difference between economic laws and social sciences laws. So let's move to our next topic, which is the basic definition for demand and desire. Most of the people think that necessity is his or her demand, but they are wrong. We cannot say that necessity is our demand. To say anything your demand, you must have to fulfill these two conditions. What are these two conditions? First one is willingness and the second one is purchasing power or ability or the money. What is mean by willingness? That you are willing to buy any product. Okay? And what is mean by purchasing power? You have the money, you have the price of that product. Okay, when you are going to the market and you see for example marker there and you want to buy that marker, so you want to buy that marker, that is your willingness, and the price of that marker is $1. And if you don't have $1 in your pocket, you cannot say that that is your demand until or unless you have the purchasing power or you have the ability or you have the price of that thing. So to say anything your demand, you must have to fulfill these two conditions. One is willingness and the other one is purchasing power. If you want to buy a marker that is only of 1 rupees and you don't have $1 in your pocket, then you cannot say that that particular marker is your demand, because you are not fulfilling this second condition. So if you are only willing to buy a thing, that is your desire. So this is the difference between demand and desire. To say any product your demand, you must have to fulfill these two criteria. One is willingness and the second one is purchasing power. If any one of these condition is missing, then that is called your only desire. If you want to buy a BMW and you have the price of that BMW in your pocket, then you can say that that is your demand. But if you want to buy a marker of $1 and you don't have the money, or you don't have the purchasing power, or you don't have the ability to buy that marker, that price is only $1, then you cannot say that that particular marker is your demand. So this is the difference between demand and desire. This is all for our first lecture. We will continue from here, and we will discuss that what is the difference between demand and quantity demand, demand schedule, demand curve, and we will take some values. We discuss all these things in our coming lecture. Thank you. Take care.